Did you watch the new Chappelle special?
I have not.
I've not.
Rats. All right. Well, I watched it because it was getting a ton of flack. Everybody was like, "This is the end of Chappelle. He's
Wasn't
jumped
funny?
the shark. This is terrible." And then they were saying the same thing about Ricky Gervais' new special as well. They're like, all they do is talk about you couldn't make this joke anymore, and then they make the joke, and it's not funny anymore. And then I saw someone else post, here are the top 2 televisions in the world, television shows in the world today, and it's them like back to back.
Oh, cool.
So I watched Chappelle first. I'd say 8 out of 10. Like, I thought it was quite funny. I thought it was shorter than I would have liked. I wanted more. He had a couple of very long stories that had like, it wasn't just one payoff. There were like 2 or 3 payoffs as the story goes on, like really good stories. He opens with, I won't spoil his bit, but it's like a Norm. Not only is it like a Norm Macdonald joke, he mentions Norm Macdonald. He tells a story about Norm Macdonald in his opening.
Right.
I won't spoil it, but the joke, the punchline or anything, but the story is and he even does a Norm impression, which is kind of funny. He's like, my great friend, the late Norm Macdonald, knew that I was a huge fan of Jim Carrey. He's talented in a way you can't practice. And he knew, he called, hey, would you like to meet Jim Carrey? And I was like, yes. And he got to go to the movie set, and he has a whole story about meeting Jim Carrey. It's very funny. I like the special a lot. I thought it was better than his last one. So everybody shitting on him was kind of weird. I thought he looked good too, like physically and like, you know, like
is he on that Joe Rogan?
He's been like, he got yoked like 6-8 years ago or something like that, and he's actually sized down since then. Like, if anything, he's like not as big, but he looks healthy. But I thought it was very funny. I thought it was like a 7-8 out of 10, like as far as specials go. And then I tried to watch Ricky Gervais. I didn't make it very deep into that before I turned it off and watched something. I didn't like it. I usually like Ricky Gervais, but it was kind of what the internet had claimed it was, of him like, ooh, can't say this anymore now, can you? Oh, but here I go. Oh, I said it, didn't I?
What's the one comedian? I think it's Jimmy Carr, I think, did that on like one of his recent specials where he's like, we're going to get canceled tonight. And then he just makes like the dumbest jokes you've ever heard. And he's like, I don't remember exactly. I saw a clip of it. I'm like, man, this fucking sucks. Like, aside from whatever point you're trying to make, this is just like not good.
Was the joke that he was saying, Jimmy Carr, that he was going to say something edgy and then he didn't? Or was it like he was pretending to be edgy and he'd be like, I'm going to get canceled for this one. White people are bad.
It was like I don't remember. It's been months, so you know that's forever. But I remember who's to say? But yeah, like I remember like watching it and like I couldn't tell. I'm like, this either has to be a bit or it's just really bad. Like I was in between both of those. I'm like, it's either one or the other. It's either he's making such bad comedy that he's doing it as a bit, or it's just.
You can't tell. That doesn't bode well for it.
Yeah, I'm like, because sometimes usually you can tell. Like,
it's like, is this movie? Well, I'm only 90% of the way through. Is it a bit? Yeah. It's like, no, it's just a bad movie.
Yeah, ruined Oppenheimer.
He also the Chappelle special. He talks about the Chris Rock, Will Smith thing because he's
topical.
Yeah,
it kind of. well,
2 years ago.
I just got here. Was Chris saying that the Chappelle show was not good?
I was saying, I'm saying the Chappelle show special is
Jimmy
good,
Carr.
and during it he's talking about
Jimmy Carr,
the Chris Rock slapping thing, and a few other things. It was really good. I liked the special a lot.
I only saw the opening.
It was a year ago, right?
It has everyone like pissed off, I guess, as an opening joke.
Yeah, don't spoil it. I don't want to like spoil the joke for Taylor. I kind of like told him like the beginning part.
I'll watch it. Like I tend to like those jokes that like upset people. It's fun.
I didn't find it that upsetting. I was like, I get it. He once again touched a third rail, but Jesus, like if you just fly off the handle anytime someone touches the third rail, which is the trans thing, like then you need to develop some thicker skin and just be chill.
I didn't think Chappelle was that. Like, I didn't think he said anything bad or anything that I was like, oh, that's just kind of hateful for the sake of being hateful. He told funny fucking jokes. He told one. This isn't spoiling. Nah, I won't do it.
Don't spoil it.
I think one of my favorite.
It feels shorter than it should be. If anything, I wanted more. And at no point he even like sets up a joke about like, this is a bad joke. Hey, he says, this is that joke that I tell, and 5 people laugh real hard out of 20,000, and I go, that's enough. He like sets the joke up like that. So I'm like, yeah, that is that joke.
Yeah.
You just get a chuckle this time. Move on. But
I think
I
one of my
enjoyed his
favorite
special, and I like him.
one of my favorite examples of like a comedian that like actually like is, you know, people like when they say like you can't make jokes anymore, and I'm like, well, they did a good job. Is like Shane Gillis's new special on Netflix was like one of the best specials I've seen in years. Is like new one, not the one on. I know he did one on YouTube, I think, but his Netflix one was really good, and I didn't feel like he like pulled back at all. It was like stuff where it's like most people be like, "Oh, you can't say that," but I'm like, "Well, he did it in a funny way," and like that's the thing. Like half the time, it's like you can say offensive shit, but like I think it was what's his name, Anthony Jeselnik was on like an interview, and he's like, "You just have to get away with it. If it's funny enough, for the most part, you can just get away with." Saying some shit.
I agree.
Model.
Exactly.
A lot of conservative comics have been losing me lately because they just go on and on about how they can't say things, how they're getting canceled. They're just complaining and whining, and they're old man yelling at clouds bullshit. Meanwhile, they're making this complaint on like the JRE, the Joe Rogan Experience, which is like the most watched piece of media in humankind. I just made that up, but it might be true.
Individually.
Right? And they're like, yeah, I just can't say this anymore. I'm so canceled. Are you fucking kidding me? More people are watching you right now than have watched anyone else do anything except maybe like a Super Bowl or something. You're not canceled. You're just not funny. All you're doing is bitching and moaning about not being able to like be more racist or something.
Well, I mean, like Shane Gillis did get like shut down from SNL, and then his career got buoyed again by Joe Rogan. And so I don't think it's like Joe is so big
that
he exists outside like the whole cancelable thing. If someone gets canceled, and it's like you can't have a show on Adult Swim or Netflix or Hulu or Amazon Prime.
I need some examples of these canceled people.
$1 million.
It's usually like
Sam
Tim
Hyde.
Allen complaining he can't play a 17-year-old version of his character.
The $1 million extreme guys, Sam Hyde, Nick Rochefort, Charles Carroll. Those guys will never get another TV show ever. They've been blackballed from that industry by Adult Swim and a lot of producers.
Well, I think what helped Shane
if they were to put like Sam and those guys on JRE, like that's a circuitous way around it, because Joe is his own alternative media economy almost. And so, you know, I don't think that someone having their career destroyed in certain avenues and then getting on Rogan is like an evidence of, oh, this is not even cancel culture. Because like what happened to Shane Gillis was canceling shit. Oh, he made funny jokes about Asians,
what did he get
and they shut him down.
SNL for? Do you remember?
He was like doing funny impressions of Asian people.
So he never
said,
appeared on
I will always
SNL.
stand.
He never actually appeared on SNL. They hired him, and then they like looked over his previous work and saw things they didn't care for, and then like, you hired this guy? No.
What happened with Shane on SNL? He was on. I think it might have been JRE. He was like talking about it, and like when he got hired on SNL, like that stuff was like coming out almost immediately, and they were like telling him like Lauren Michaels like all of it. They're like, it's fine, don't worry about it, you're good. And they were kind of like that over and over again until it was just like constant like articles and news coming out to the point where they were like, you have to fire him. And they were like, all right, yeah, like at this point we have to. But like it sounded like at first they were like, just don't worry about it. We'll get you on stage. We'll get you on a show. You'll be fine. And I think what like really helped him was that special he uploaded to YouTube, which I
100%
like on his channel, because that's got like 40 million views. And that was like all over TikTok. I saw that in like shorts, reels, everything. I think that's what probably helped him get a Netflix special, because they're like, all right, you can actually do a good special. Like you've got it. And
his Netflix special is very good, and I like that he found a way to laugh with people with Down syndrome, and instead of at them, like he does so many Down syndrome
good job
jokes.
at that.
Oh, he
and none of them are like saying anything bad about people with Down syndrome. He's like, as people get uncomfortable when I talk about it, you tell they don't know any people with Down syndrome. They're the happiest people in the world.
Yeah,
you did a really good job with that. Like that's an example of like being able to take subjects like that and like not make it like offensive, but it's like, okay, you're actually like doing a good job with this sensitive topic.
So I have a special needs son, and because of that, sometimes I can be a little sensitive to like developmental disability jokes. And I enjoyed his routine, man. He wasn't
wonderful.
He wasn't taking digs at this guy. He's like, this guy's cool as shit. And the grilled cheeses and shit. I was rolling. Like it was really good.
You get that cheese, Danny.
He's making him at night.
He really does, and I mean, like he has such a good Down syndrome face
He needs to make a movie ASAP.
when he puts his face on, like honest to God, it's like that's. I wouldn't ask him for directions. Like,
he did a great job, and I appreciate that. I think he's a conservative comedian who doesn't just talk about how he's been canceled all the time. He just does good work, as opposed to like a Dennis Leary who's like, they canceled me. No, you're over the hill. You're not fun anymore.
I've never seen one clip of Dennis Leary. Wait, was he the guy in the early 2000s, mid 2000s, the fireman show? Yeah. I remember hearing about
Save Me or something. I've never seen an episode. It's called like Save Me or something like that. He's a fireman. Might have been on Showtime or something. I would see its memes and be like, no, I don't care. I'm not getting in your little world. I always see it. I haven't seen him do anything in a long time. It's Bill Maher that used to strike me as like the far left guy, but it's been interesting to see him be pulled toward the center over the last 5 years. I remember someone made an appearance on his show 5 years ago, and they brought up the menstruating men thing. And Bill's laughing. He's like, no one is saying that. He's like, you will be forced to agree with that. They are going to force you to agree with menstruating. This is
Bill who said it?
No, they're telling Bill, and Bill's like, oh, that's ridiculous. No one thinks men menstruate. No one thinks those things. No one says them. And like you see, like 5 years have taken their toll on him, and he's been pulled right to the center as far as I'm concerned. Maybe he's left of center, to be fair, but
I think so.
He's way further to the right than he once was.
He's right where I think I am, right? Which is like
I'm close.
I'm sorry.
I'm close.
You're close to where he is? Okay. Which is like on the left, but not on board with the stupid shit. You know, like I don't know. If you're trans, I'm more than happy to address you with whatever surnames and stuff you want. But we both know, like, you're not really a boy now, right? Like, or whatever it is. Like, I don't know how to phrase it. I think you're having a hard time, so I want to treat you nicely. That's where I come from.
I don't want to have to pretend like we're in an alternate reality, although I'm happy to live in like a make-believe realm where we're all respectful with one another. Yeah. You know, like maybe you don't. When you call me sir, it doesn't mean that you think anything. You're just being respectful. Like I don't know. I don't know how to phrase it well either. But I don't want to be told what to say because I'm polite enough to say the right thing to begin with. But if you come in and tell me that if I'm not polite, it's or else, then I start not wanting to be so polite anymore. Then I start want to say some slurs and say "fuck you too, you piece of shit." You know, like now I'm not on
my blue team, I'll call it. Yeah. Didn't like that Supreme Court decision where they said you can't consider race when you look at college applications, and I was like, well, I think you shouldn't. It feels racist to give preferential treatment based on skin color. Why is it good? How is that good? I don't get it. It feels very unfair. And I bet Bill Maher would agree with me.
I think with Bill Maher, I've always been like, no matter where he stands on anything, he just has a way of saying it in the most annoying way possible half the time. And I'm like, I don't care what side you're on, just you sound like a douche. Like every time he's
like so many comedians do that in my mind. Not Shane Gillis really, but a lot of comedians, and we've had a bunch on the show who maybe fall into this. They think they're better than everyone else. They think they're smarter. That comedians are some sort of like special breed who think better than pedestrians do, or civilians, they might call us. You know, like, oh my God, don't battle with me on the mic because I'm such a fucking super genius. You don't stand a chance. I don't see plumbers doing that. I don't see plumbers saying, you know what? I just look at plumbing in a different way than everybody else, and I see things you don't see. I'm a superhuman. Yeah, no, you're just a fucking professional plumber, and this guy's a professional communicator, and sure, he's better at communicating than most people are, but he doesn't think he's some sort of higher level of human, that he has a plumber's brain that works better than a pedestrian's brain. But Tom Segura, Joe Rogan, fucking Bert Kreisler, Adam Schultz, they all go on that shit. And I could list people who've been on this show too, but I'm too polite, who do that same sort of thing and just, I'm so much brighter and more clever and sharper than the rest of the planet. Get over yourself. You're just a person.
The real thing is like,
I know at least one person you're referring to.
I see comedians sometimes talk about what they do as if it's a martial art. Like, and when I hear martial artists talk about, like, for example, like a bar fight breaking out, it's like, it'd be over before it began. You'd be better off just everyone needs to walk away. I'm going to break my hands killing you all. You don't understand. This is going to set me back 8 months and you the rest of your lives. Like don't do this. But then you'll hear a comedian kind of talk about like their ability to turn a phrase or write a joke and like it's mystical or something. I don't know. They act like it's a superpower sometimes, and that can be grating. They're like, you don't understand the way a comedian's mind works. You can't put me in that situation.
That's the shit that annoys me.
You're not a human being anymore. Like, what are you, a fucking like?
There were some guys like that on Opie and Anthony back in the day who would like say it was like a joke on the r/Opie and Anthony subreddit, which was the funniest forum to have ever existed. And like they would make, I don't remember exactly what comedian did it, but they would say like, yeah, it was civilians. They like referred to like non-comedians like in their friend group and stuff as like civilians. And I remember even like,
so corny.
I think Anthony made fun of him for that.
Good.
I think Jimmy made fun of him for that. Like, but because that is just Jimmy Norton.
Thank you.
Yeah, the other.
I can just imagine Jimmy. Oh, let me fucking salute. Let me fucking salute your punchline, General Laugh a Lot.
Dude, like at least like once every 6 months, I'll be online and I'll just get a little walk down memory lane of like, man, I wish I could just head on over to the Opie and Anthony subreddit.
Is it gone?
It's been gone since 2018. If you like tracked my use of Reddit after 2018, cataclysmic downfall.